highlight that. So as soon as you enter a meeting, it will turn on with the host arriving.
Right.
Yeah, Haifa and
that might be
Seed
good
does
for
that.
me.
Yeah, just for continuity. Also, I prepped up some of the meeting notes, but we have 3 note takers in this meeting. I think perhaps one of these people can make sure that the meeting notes are sent to you, Rob, or something like that. That would be rad.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Cool.
I think Troy's trying out a new one, Fathom or something.
Yeah, I see that there. This is an interesting era we're in of AI. Yeah, I just came out of a collaboratory meeting with the Seeds community, and I went with a theme of a expedition, a mountain trek, as if we were climbing through the Misty Mountains to Mordor. We have been journeying for 120 days as a community and trying to wrap our head around that, honoring the heartbeat of a community within a very technological, digital refi structure. So that's been an interesting journey, and it's amazing that we've gotten this far. So I was just kind of having fun with that and trying to keep the space light. And yeah, I'm excited to be here and see what Rob's been cooking up and see where I can contribute. So I will pass the stone to Basil.
Right. Yeah. We've been passing these heavy stones for a while now. I invited Troy into this meeting. Some of you don't know him yet, but he's original Seeds in Haifa, and was part of our. We worked together on the Game of Seeds Circle, which is part of the product circle for the Haifa Seeds app. The original, the Global Passport, the old version. But yeah, just really excited to show the true power of what these new collaborative structures where we can measure things can do. And I know we're far from full measurement of everything we're doing. We're all just like flowing, and we're not really in the DAO behaviors yet, but I'm looking forward to that unfolding and seeing how at the end of the day, all of us will start to sort of kind of have ownership over lots of different organizations that we touch over time, that we help start up, that we help support. And that's what I'm excited to get to the point where the passionate players, the diligent workers, where we just like gain ownership just through that process, and we don't need to behave outside of our normal human selves to do so. So that's what I'm excited about. I'll pass it to Kim.
Did you say Kim? Did you say? Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, I don't have anything philosophical to say, as usual, but I'm here, and I'm glad to see everyone, and I'm really eager to hear what John has in store. Rob has in store for, well, also John, because he's been talking about helping us with some social media as well. So very eager to see how this conversation today will evolve. So I'm passing the stone to Troy.
Thanks, Kim. Hey, guys. I'm Troy. Like Base mentioned, we've been working together for quite a number of years now, starting at the beginning of Seeds in Haifa, and just kind of involving these studios and that aspect of it. And I'm currently building a massive online role-playing game that's going to incorporate augmented reality to help teach people, about, where they live and the environment and how they can participate in, healing the planet. been working with Rob for a couple of months now. He's really, really awesome guy, and we have very much the same alignments in our passions and our work ethics and what we want to do here together. So, who has not spoken?
Crispus, are you online here with us?
Yeah, I'm following actually right from the start. I'm following.
Okay, great. Would you like to say hi and share a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here again. Thanks so much, Rob, for the invitation once more. My name is Biarhanga Crispus. I hope you can pronounce the first name, so Crispus will be the easier name for everyone. So basically, what the screen name that you see there, Munasi Green Initiative, is a part of some small work that I'm trying to do here to create some impact. So my background was, I have a business, I do business administration. So part of my skills in business administration is sales. So the job wasn't, I wasn't creating the impact that I needed, or it wasn't something that I was looking out for. So I quit my job. Then I started to, I founded this NGO with other friends of mine and other partners. So part of this work that we do in this NGO is mostly natural-based solutions. And part of our natural-based solutions, all we do is we work with schools, we work with different communities, we work with the community leaders, we work with the municipal government here in Mubende and the local government. So part of our work is mainly to first create awareness and also make the people understand that there is a problem and what is the problem. So part of our work is always on first to sensitize and educate and then create more awareness about the problem so that the solution can be community-based, and then it's a solution that comes out of the people themselves, so that it can benefit them, and then it's more sustainable. So part of the work that we do with Munasi Green Initiative is we're also proud to be part of the Uganda Permaculture Consortium, which is a consortium of different people who are really interested and really have so much love for permaculture, keeping it simple with simple steps, simple baby steps, and creating really, really lasting impacts that can create bring a community together so that it's like more of a web. So here we work with different NGOs and different organizations, like a very good organization that I can give you an example is called Flip Town. Like you hear the name Flip Town. So basically they want to change the town. So it's a community-based organization that brings together different stakeholders from businesses to education centers to different stakeholders and the community leaders and all that, so that they can be together on a social platform, which is run with an AI behind it. I can't talk so much about the engineering stuff because it's one of my friend who best knows the AI bit of it. So it's a pleasure to be here, and then also try to learn so much from other people's experiences, and probably also share my experience and probably contribute something where I can and be an asset to the whole, to the team in general. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for sharing with us. Beautiful. So yeah, thank you everybody for being here. Yeah, we can use all the minds that there are our collective mind. So I'll just kind of jump in. Yeah, so basically, I think that what's been coming in, like for to start, like what's been coming in for me, especially like the last month or so is just been, I don't know, in a way a little bit uncharacteristic, like like stress and stressors, and I'm like, I'm starting to feel like in a way where I never have, even though I've been pushing myself really hard, but like that kind of burnout, and I'm like, all right, well, what's going on here? And it didn't, just taking it as like as a signal. Okay, so, what's going on? Is there, are there snags? Is there something kind of, off with what we're doing? And, just did a lot of like discussions and talking with folks and, people who, like who I know are, and like business coaches and, people who, have been, right. I haven't like been in the business world like all that long. So, and really, the conclusion, I think what it got to, or what everybody started saying, and here I'm going to share my screen. There was a little right? So I was making this whole presentation, and then over the weekend, things are continuing to shift. So it's like half a presentation, but it still serves the purpose. So basically, what everybody kept saying was like, you got to pick a lane, like you have to pick a lane, like what you're doing now, like you're trying to offer you're trying to offer like too much, and that you like there's not really like you don't have like set what you're trying to offer, and so it took like talking to a lot of people, and like kind of again and again, banging this idea into my head and trying to, because I have a lot of, right, like everybody here, have really big visions and really like believe in those visions, and believe that, this transformation can happen. And I'm like, okay, well, where's the snag? And so, it really comes down to this. I actually made before. So I went back to like, how did this all start? Before the whole giant thing, it all really started with like one person. This person's name is Gabrielle, and she's this amazing healer. And I'm like, okay, well, I want to like help this person to succeed. And so, right. So this is kind of what it looked like. I was, helping this one person, to run and grow their business and, be able to be successful. And it was really, it was difficult. And I worked with some other folks like this. It was difficult because this person doesn't have they just don't have a lot of like resources. And it takes, a while to build up something that can grow and scale and really support somebody, financially and, beyond just, that like beyond just, hey, I want to have some clients, and bring some of that, bringing money that way. So, that kind of, created this thought in my mind that like, okay, well, this isn't really like a me or her problem. Even if I do great with her, like there's a systemic problem, which we all know. This was like the first piece that came through my head. This was like the original sort of like mind map I made, I'm like, and really it's just, again, this is like this idea where we all have, it's just like, it comes down to collaboration. What if we had a large enough group of people that were collaborating together, rather than competing with each other? What if we took all these different entities that were siloed off and were hoarding resources rather than sharing resources with each other? What could that network look like, right? And so along the way, of course, I discovered lots of other people with this idea, networks and, seeds and Haifa and DAOs and Web3 and all that. But, and so, the idea was like, okay, well, how could that network grow? But really what, like what I started on, what I kind of didn't really fully realize, was that like, so this network wants to grow, right? And it can grow. And these are all like, people who are collaborating with each other and can, grow and strategic partners and all of that. And really sort of, this is just one way to visualize it, but it sort of ends up like this, right? This is like when a group enters like this economy of scale, we're all, there's enough, pieces together, enough support, enough people that are occupying enough roles, that we can, work together. And right, this was kind of the idea. This is what's on the website, right? Is like, we're selling like on-demand teams, right? On-demand teams, with project management, operational support, growth strategy, marketing, business, integration systems and automation, all this cool stuff, which is kind of like what I was doing for this one person, and what I'm seeing now is like, oh, actually we can't offer that. Like holistic systems is not ready. Like we don't have the people to do that, to offer that. Like if somebody comes and says, hey, we have a bunch of money and we're gonna, we want you to do this. Yeah, we could probably compile, something and get a bunch of, get some people together. I don't know that the service we offer would be that great. But it might work. But as a business model, right? And that's kind of what's another thing that's kicked in is like, somebody helped me with is that like a to like separate, even though they are the same, or they're intertwined, but to separate like the business model from the governance and ownership model. And I was like, that was very insightful for me. Because it's the governance and ownership model that's like more exciting. It's like the co-ownership and the co-op and the collaboration and, DAOs and, tokens and all, like, that's like, yeah, that's very exciting. But if the business model doesn't work, meaning like if we can't bring in, if we can't have something that we're selling that, people are paying for, then, enough to support ourselves, then, then there's not like there's not the resources then to support ourselves. And so, and John, I see your hand up. I'm going to finish with this little part and I'd love to hear what you have to say. So really constantly, thinking about what's the business model, meaning like, what can we sell now that people would pay for, so we can at least at a bare minimum support the people who are doing the work. And then, over the last couple of weeks, kind of like tried to dial that back, to something, and Nyla brought in something that was really, good. Like these German guys have this, they have this like model where they help people, and they have, they have like this process, and so this is a little bit less, it's, right, it has to go to English. So, it's like, oh, okay, this is kind of like a branding and customer acquisition, and then like scalable offer, like service and package. And I'm like, okay, well, we could probably do that. And what I did was, I was like, all right, well, let's play that out. And I made a new like Nestor, a new Nestor, circle here. And I said, okay, well, what would we need just to do that? And still there's a lot of like roles that are here. And even if some aren't used as many as, the others, like these are all roles that need to be filled in order to fulfill that, fulfill that like service. And that's a lot of kind of coordination, and so, so to me, it's like, it might look like that, that might be necessary in order to fulfill that. And so where are we now? Like we have great people coming in, but we really just started this like onboarding process and working together. So we might be there, or we might be here right now. So, that was kind of like the issue. And I think, I think that then, we've had some insights and have some ideas of like, okay, well, where are we now? And like, how do we start with where we're at now? And also, and get to where we want to be, right? And also like, how can we do that and make money, like support ourselves, in the short term. So, I have, there's lots of thoughts on that, but I wanted to jump into John, and if you had something to pop in, love to hear it.
Yeah, personally, I just want to reiterate, as cool as governance is, if you have zero revenue, you can break up zero revenue into the coolest governance fashion ever, but it's still zero revenue and it ends up sucking after a little while. Forgive my language. You know what I mean? Because we all need to pay our way to live in this world. And I don't think anybody on this call is independently wealthy. So I really want to acknowledge you for saying, as much as you get lit up by the governance, focusing on revenue is a badass way forward. That's number one. Number two, Number two, your circles, I would remove the operations and admin and just make a sales and business development focus. Because I saw Zoe's LinkedIn already. I've seen your LinkedIn, Rob. I don't know the other two people in these pictures, but I would think that you can sell marketing services tomorrow if you wanted. And, or, we could also hype up Better World stuff because they're pumping out really badass content as a case study of like, look how badass we are at pumping out content. We went from 40 views to 400 views with this very cool, fun little system. So there seems to be, if there's appetite for that, all you need are results and talent, and you can get, gigs, you know what I mean? Just straight off the bat. So that's all I have to say.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Those are both, well, first of all, thank you for validating that, because it's, that's helpful. The business, as far as the business model, dividing up, zero. So, and yeah, I love it like that. So I think what you're speaking to is like, right. That's kind of what we want to talk about, and right. Got, some ideas, but like want to talk about exactly that. Like, what can we operationalize now, and then and how do we do that and for who? So I think you're right on it. So thank you. Kim.
Yeah, so that made a whole lot of sense. And everything that you've said so far in relation to the meeting that I had last week with an agency here, it was a particularly difficult meeting just because I really expected them to know more than they did because they were innovation and technology directors for a marketing agency. Most of what they were, referring to were sort of off-the-shelf products, and they weren't really looking at anything that would be, tailored for any of their customers necessarily. But what I found myself doing was, instead of talking about the video production side of it, which they were really interested in, I talked more about the governance side, because it was kind of becoming clear that they didn't know enough about it. They needed to know about it. They needed to be introducing it to clients who have the resources to begin to govern in a different way. And I still would kind of like to gear it toward them that way. But they came back to saying to me, I don't think we have any clients who'd be interested in that. I just don't understand enough how it works. But the difference there is, as John said, they have the resources that they could actually explore it, whereas people then who really want to explore it don't have the resources. And so how do we work together to make it happen where we can get to play in that environment and do that in maybe in a marketing way, with already established agencies as a vendor service, who are already working with big corporations. So that's, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, right. I know that's such a good question. Yeah, how do we, right. Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. How do we get to, how are we able to work with, organizations and businesses, right, that have money to pay our rates, and right, that's part of the idea. That's part of like the, I don't know, somebody said last week or something, like the Robin Hood idea, is we want to support, folks who don't have as much resources, so, one of the ways to do that is to have clients that, to have clients that, can pay full rate, and then that helps us support others. Yes. So.
And the other thing, y'all, is that this group was actually if you went to their LinkedIn, everything they talked about was community building on their LinkedIns, for a few of the different people in the organization. So I kept pounding on the community building part of that to hopefully make a breakthrough with them. They just really had more questions, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to actually get them on the phone and talk to us to answer more of those questions than I could. And I made it very clear I wasn't going to have all the answers. I was wanting to build the relationship and see where we could go. But anyway, that's a building block for us there, I guess. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Crispus.
Yeah, I was just trying to add on what Kimberly has was remarking about. How do we sell or how do we market this thing? Talking as with my as a salesperson with my previous experience, it's always about how should I say this? It's not more about selling the actual product. It's actually selling the dream or the vision. You understand? So you come to the person in terms of their needs or trying to show them, like, for example, if adding my experience together with the climate change and the whole activist movement. So for example, if I was selling like a new technology to maybe like, for example, like people like petrol companies like Shell or Total, something like that, I'll tell them, this is the time you need to be responsible and create impact and do something, and actually also take on responsibility to clean up, because you are part of the problem. So that is the issue we are having here with Coca-Cola, because actually in Uganda, Coca-Cola has phased out, I think they are trying to phase out the recyclable bottles, the glass bottles. They are no more in the market anymore. Actually, you only meet them in fancy places and they're more expensive. So all the plastic, all the soda here is it's all plastic. So you find that it's a very big problem here. So if I was selling something to them like that, I would tell them that, hey, we need to clean up. This is part of your social responsibility as a corporation or as part of humanity. So, and also show them that, also sell to them that there could be a profit angle from there too, actually taking on these social responsibilities and supporting these different ideas.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, John, please.
Christopher, is that how I say your name? Crispus. Thank you. Well said. Well said about selling the vision, and I think that to go back, and sorry if I'm beating a dead drum or anything, but going back to the Better Worlds funnel, there seems to be a funnel coming through Better Worlds. There's outreach already happening. There are people potentially with budget walking through that door. You know what I mean? Using that and the assets generated from Better Worlds content, I know from just recently, are far exceeded my expectations. So, you know, I mean, if we could create a system, I've been using with Basil, it's basically just been Basil and I kind of hustling things together as the marketing team. And we're basically taking the large scale podcast down into 3-minute or less videos, three times a week, and then memes in between, and just trying to drive engagement that way. We got a pretty good pump from Reddit channels. I just think that, like, if we work together, we can get good at stuff, you know what I mean? And then discover value proposition in the process of getting better, like sharpening the sword, if you will.
Yeah. Well, that pretty much is the perfect segue, kind of into, right, the thoughts that have come through, right, for how to proceed. And I think how to, right, how to proceed, I think what we're talking about now, which is great, is, are like some more tangible ideas. And, that I think is where we want to go. But I do want to look at, like, from holistic systems, first, how do we put that together? What is the foundation or the infrastructure that puts that together, right? So if holistic systems, now, I mean, so we could say, all right, like, this is like maybe 5 years from now, if we're like putting together a roadmap for what, just be conservative, right? So 5 years from now. So, and maybe this is like 2 years from now, what we're able to offer. Maybe it's 6 months from now, who knows? But like, so right now, if we're here, then what is holistic systems if it's not, right? And this is really like a question for the group. I mean, Zoe and I were talking about this yesterday. It's like, okay, so what is holistic systems now, as far as, the outward facing, business, so what are we offering? And then what is holistic systems internally? I think, internally, it actually feels so much, like a lot lighter, probably because it's more in alignment with reality, but it feels like holistic systems, as far as team members coming in, like this kind of collaboratory laboratory. And so, a place where it's not like people can come in and at this point, like, be really like strategic partners with each other, and we can start to create what I think John is talking about there, more like in easeful and natural ways, and in ways where we are sort of sharpening that sword, create these partnerships, but also be creating like the packages and the programs, because what's happening now is like like I do like a lot of things well, but I don't know that I have like what's my specialty, and so like what do we have now that actually can sell like with like through holistic systems, so we have things that we can like what we have. I mean, if we're going to get down to like real basics, like what we have that's really operationalized, there's amazing people who are coming in right now. Operationalized, we know Zoe can do social media, and we know Rob can do like a bunch of things, and project management, and digital systems, and resource management, things like that. Rob can also jump in and do marketing, and can definitely do like email marketing well, right? So operationally, probably we have, right, and Newman can do things, but he can do like online courses, but that's not kind of like set. So operationally, we probably have like me and Zoe and what we can do together. So I think that there's a way where we have to say, what can we operationalize like bit by bit, in a way that's right, that's going to allow everybody to hone their craft, and then also hone the way we work with each other, and trust with each other, and collaborate with each other. So if we're bringing everybody in on the team member side, and then also there's a way where we can bring in particular clients as well into this space where we're all just collaborating together and figuring out how to work together. I think that can be really effective at like then step by step, creating more, more synergy, because, and, using this as an example, there's another, person who just came aboard and is like really excited, named Maggie. And she does, analytics, right? So, if we can put together, if I do like some email marketing and Zoe does social media and this person's doing analytics, and then we do that, like, maybe each of us has to do that on our own 5 times, 10 times in a row. But if we do that together 5 times, 10 times in a row, then we really have like a solid, process and package there. Yeah, and the other thing, the last thing I think I want to say here is that the challenge, right? The challenge is, for now, right, how we like how much we can all put in to holistic systems and what's coming through, and how much do we have to concentrate like on our on finding like clients on our own, because, right, so I mean, we take me for example, my client well, ran a little dry the last, couple months, right? So I'm like, I need, my kind of top priority is actual like fiat money coming in so I can pay rent and, all that sort of common story. So how much do I need to then just like branch out as myself as an offering, and then how much, can come in through holistic systems? So these are the, these are the questions that then start to get, more practical. Yeah, John, please.
So one of the things I'll just start off with is, and it's natural in environments, especially decentralized environments, to take deliverable action, not rooted in good strategy. And one thing I think you could do to, if marketing was the circle that you wanted, marketing and business development was the circle that you wanted to execute on, I think you'd first have to flesh out through whoever's, a stakeholder for whatever client, what the strategy is that you're looking to accomplish and what the definition of success is that you're looking to implement a specific marketing plan for a particular client, whether it's paid or unpaid. And then the deliverables make much more sense because it's not like you're just shooting blanks in the dark for getting likes, because likes might not really matter that much. Views might matter, or it might for Restorathon, for us, what matters is right now community engagement. So we want people to go from viewing the content to joining the Discord to participating on a team. That's gold to us. It's more exciting to us than any view would matter at all. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to at least note that, you know what I mean?
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's almost like, yeah, I think that that's such a base foundational piece, that I didn't even, I kind of assume it, like, even if it's just, even if, like, so when, Zoe's going, goes and does social media for a client, like it starts with strategy, and if, right, for like one person or for a team. So I thank you for bringing that in. Yeah.
Strategy is a payable deliverable too,
Yeah,
one that you can get good money for. And then the implementation is a less of a charge item hourly wise, but it
Right.
ties into the KPIs you develop in the strategic session.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. I know more and more I'm understanding that. Yeah. Right. You get paid for the strategy. So there's right. So so that, like, that's kind of the main, piece of what's coming, of what's here. I mean, I think that what seems obvious, is the fact that, we're not ready to, like, operationalize this, mass scale kind of services agency. And I think that word, is really key, like the collaboration and operationalize. I think that's what we're doing. And I think that is what really makes, like, holistic systems what it is, is that, and right. And that's why there is this kind of, like, this fiat money, aspect that's there, because, the design isn't to just be like like a bunch of people getting together and sort of like creating a model or a theory, and playing with it. It's that, but it's operationalizing that. So we're a bunch of people getting together and we're saying, like, okay, we're going to collaborate, but we want to, actually be working together in this, like, business, like it's a business, and figuring out how to have that working model, happen, and how to grow that. So it's really, to me, like, that's the gold there, is operationalizing that collaboration. It's just, I think, in some way I was putting, like, all the operationalizing, like, first, and then, and like I was putting that out there first, but the collaboration, like, it just, like, it needs to happen kind of at the same time. The collaboration has to happen, first. So, so that, so I first of all, I'd love to hear what everybody has to say, and what people are saying already is really helpful. What people think, how, and then the last piece, is really kind of what we've been talking about, as far as, like, what can we operationalize now? So there's a way where, and I did this because I'm like, all right, well, like, if I have to like sell something, if I have to go and support myself, in some way while Holistic Systems is building, so, like, the other weekend I'm like, all right, well, what am I doing? And I made this, like, website for myself, and it's robhurwitch.com, which I swore I was never going to do a robhurwitch.com website because there's no poetry to it, but sometimes we have to do things in life, right? So I'm like, oh, okay, well, I can, this is a site, and I can say, like, I offer these services. I still might need to, like, boil them down, but, so this is something where I'm like, okay, well, I can spend some time just kind of, like, going, like, trying to find clients this way, and then getting a foot in the door, and then bringing that client in, and then, of course, hopefully, bringing other partners in, on that service. So, you know, that's like a way where, you know, okay, I can, you know, see about the feasibility of me doing that on my own. There's also a way where in this operationalizing this collaboration where we can start to create, you know, these you know, services and packages that have more people, and we can hone our skills, right? So this is the idea that Basil and I've been talking about, you know, is using, you know, is finding, you know, like particular clients and having them as a use case, right? So creating a use case saying, okay, well, we're gonna, you know, just like John is saying, you know, like we're gonna, you know, go and work with like Better Worlds, and we're gonna hone our skills, and we're gonna, right, get some freaking analytics in there, so that way we're getting measurable results, and we're gonna like help the client to actually bring in, you know, new customers, which then will hopefully bring in money for us. But we're also learning how to work together, and so then the question for me there is like, I mean, is like, what's the balance, you know, that we need, and how much, you know, like how much, you know, sort of that prospective kind of use case, you know, work needs to be done, you know, how much of my time do I spend on that, right? And then how much time do I spend on just like, hey, I've got this like little offering, you know, and I need to, you know, put time into that just to, you know, get like a baseline, you know, financial, baseline finances, you know, in to just kind of like pay the bills while things are growing. So that's really, you know, that's a question where I'm at. Yeah. Please.
So over time, no matter what time we're in, we're always going to be having to prioritize. So the way I prioritize my time and what I focus on is what stands the most chance of the maximum amount of return, period. And then I also prioritize my time for our new agency, our birthing agency here, to make sure that there is actual cash flow coming from accounts. Now, they might not be big, but at least it's cash flow. So Better Worlds and things like that, there is cash flow. But Better Worlds, we scale up because that's a foundation. The more money that goes into that, the more production services, more marketing services are needed. So it's kind of like, you know, this is, for me, I felt like as a movement, this is kind of a foundational year for us to get our backing in order so that we don't fall below that line, that minimum viable line economically as individuals, so we can really focus and we're not concerned about the money as much as we are right now. But we're not there yet. But just as far as prioritization over time, you know, whenever we're developing a new product line, we need to test it in a safe environment and say, look, it's beautiful and it works. And then we're confident to go sell it. But if we go to a client and say, hey, we can do this service, this holistic full services, media buy 360 advertising, which is what this is what we were going to be doing, 360, full 360. We're not ready for that yet. So, but we can test our 360 with things like Better Worlds and other products, Restorathon, Holistic Systems itself, the co-op itself as a client for our marketing team. So prioritization, what will bring the maximum amount of return? And the way I prioritize it is one-off projects for $2,000, don't cut it. Accounts for $2,000 a month, $12,000 a year, $24,000 a year, that can start to work per account if that's minimum viable. One-off film projects don't work, you know, like that's just too much overhead on us, you know. So we need like things that are sustainable projects, TV shows, series, product brands, franchises that continue to pay all of our holistic systems services, project management services, sales management services, sponsorship package services, advertising services. All of that will be built around our products that we own effectively. And so that way we are the client for ourselves. And then as far as the human level for ourselves, should be a lot better than the normal game of trying to always satisfy the clients that are quite demanding, and that can really drain people, you know.
Yeah,
we have to do both, but we have to have our base. We have to have our base.
Yeah, I think that's good. And right, and and so then I think that like does need to be the plan. Right. I mean, right now, like if some, whatever one-off client comes, it's like if they're gonna pay enough, then I've got to take that. But that's right. That's not the business plan or the business model. And so I do think that that's something, right, that I've been, getting more and more clear on, which is like, okay, we have to like start with like, what are these services that are really going to be something that we can sell, over and over again, and we have that like base process for, and that we can, feasibly deliver, with what we have. Yeah. Welcome, Newman.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
And thanks. I'm so sorry to be sorry to be late, but it's great to see everyone here. I was facilitating a meeting over in another community, that the Gimbal Labs, and this thing called the Facilitators Collective. And they took me for almost two and a half hours. Oh my God, it was an epic. But I'm super stoked. I'm curious. I've got the meeting agenda notes up. Anyone want to summarize just real brief what we got into?
Well, so for Newman, luckily Newman and I had a conversation about this yesterday. So I don't have to summarize like the base kind of presentation or whatever. I think that we've been I mean, we kind of got through that, and people have been popping in, ideas as far as like, I think right now where we're at and what folks have been popping in are really ideas about, okay, what's practical now? What can we do now? Yeah.
Did you tell them we who are here now? Did you land on that phrase? Because I love that phrase. That's a really good one.
Yeah. I think I might have said it, but not in that poetic way. We who are here now. Yes.
We who are here now. That's right.
Right, that's good. Welcome, we who are here now. So, I think as we go, I think we can, I think it seems like a good idea to get, like since the folks who are here are all kind of like in this, to get more and more like strategic and practical, as we go, and say, okay, what, like, do we have any like plans, and lay that out. And before that, I mean, I do want to give anyone a chance to kind of like speak to whatever they'd like to speak to, or the larger, kind of picture, including Newman and Zoe. And there's a way, right, in which I've had, conversations with Zoe and Newman, and and I would love to kind of hear, like, in your words, like what you're like, what has come out of that, right? Because it's like, or like, what is, because I'm saying in my words, oh, this is what I'm discovering, this is what we need. It might be cool to like, hear that in your words, because it might translate in a way that could be helpful.
For sure. What I, because I'm relatively new, trying to, and I think that what you expressed yesterday was like a big pivot. Didn't seem like a huge pivot to me, because, it's just sort of the way I had been seeing it. And it was that instead of having like a strong central HSC, like, here is this real like centralized source, that it becomes a little more in the decentralized manner. And like the graphic that you showed, it's like, instead of like this bigger thing, like, what are the small ties that are relatively practical and easy for those that are here now, and that we can accomplish, and sort of empowering people to do like individual projects, to bring in clients that then can, in a small pieces, many pieces loosely joined type of, if you all remember that phrase from the early internet times. that those what do they call weak bonds, also from like physics, I think is like a weak bond, that are super powerful. It's like they're weak, but it's actually they're really strong. And that we're empowered to sort of go out and find the projects, and then it's more, and then the like loosely joined here, in the central source. And that makes that to me makes sense. And that we hold the vision, and that's the membership. Like what makes us then HSC is that, well, we have this roadmap, that we are participating on a roadmap. Our projects are in some way connected, and that we can work together, and that there is a future roadmap and vision out ahead of us. Is that does that align? I hope it's not too far off.
No, it's beautiful.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because I'm motivated now that I know that there's a group of people here and there's a structure here, like being on the roster and sort of saying, all right, I want to do course creation, or I want to do meeting facilitation, or documentation, or all the other things that I can offer, like thinking in terms of things that I can offer, and then being, given the courage to go out and offer them. And that then, that if I get sort of stuck, that there's helpful and support, that are out there. Or if I'm out looking around for stuff, I can say, oh, well, yeah, if you need a social media campaign, Zoe is there for you. If you need, artwork, or if you're interested in, working on a regenerative ag project, or if you've got, something happen in Kampala, then I've got folks for you,
Yeah. It sounds like it to me.
So how would we, so say I had something right now in social media that I would really like to take part of the budget for, and say, okay, perhaps Zoe, what could you help me do with this particular project? It's a justice project. Not a lot of money. It's just, a nonprofit, just all grant based. But I would love to be able to write a quest and just say, hey, if you'd like to work on this with me, would that be a way to do it? Get it rolling?
Sounds good to me. They sound very interesting too. I'd love to learn more about them. Very cool.
Yeah, you could write a quest, or have a I think that's a good way to to get it started, and then y'all could talk. And I think it's right, like starting again with that strategy and saying, okay, well, what are the needs? What is the budget? And then Zoe, what could you do? I mean, I kind of feel like that's it's a nice way to get things started, and also in this like decentralized way, because if you do that and then Zoe connects with you, this is just, I'm sort of playing out something out, but like, and then Zoe say, you talk about strategy and you're like, oh, well, like this person could also use, like their branding is like freaking horrible or something. Oh, okay. Yeah. Now let's bring in this person. Could happen in that manner. I mean, and right, long-term, from a operational standpoint, collaboration, right? It'd be great, like we want to have like a very standard way to have quests, and to have, in this like beautiful vision of, this decentralized, quests and people being able to self-select and all that. But, as I think you're seeing with my, what, like the order of the day is to sort of like not worry too much about that, even though, right, for me, that's where a lot of the fun is. It's like, oh, I want to set up, all these like awesome, systems and ways to coordinate and collaborate at scale, and yeah, keep it kind of practical for now, but in the same same vein.
Well, then I think that takeaway from this is that Zoe and I should meet if she wants to do that, and talk and like be an experiment for everybody else. And then we'll come back and we'll tell you how it went. And we'll see what we can drum up together and what we might be able to do for this person that will, help all of us.
Yeah.
We have 3 active, well, we have 2 active like paying customers, that one. and then Better Worlds. And then after this meeting, John and I wanted to sort of focus on just the marketing strategy per podcast series. Just like what, we need weekly for weekly flow, because we have to release Ocean podcast this week with Kate Wing on Thursday, and then we're going to be in weekly flow from there. So it would just be brilliant if we could get that marketing circle together with Zoe and Kim and John and I and anybody else who wants to contribute, and then we kind of like look at what we've got, and then we carve it up, help design things and strategize things, because we want to make replicable templates. So when we have a podcaster or an influencer comes in for creative services with Troy and me and others, and then in production services, marketing strategy services, there's one full end-to-end package. And so we need to have like different circles, like already in our production flow. We have recordings that then have to go into AI with somebody gathering stuff. Then it has to go to edit circle for copywriting. Then it has to like go to production for edit. And then it has to go to like programming, distribution, and then marketing. And there needs to be like network nodes that are handling services on a production line.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I think some of where we haven't quite gotten there yet is like how to start, like basically how to like get like a myself and get like a Zoe like into that flow, into that channel, because it's because there's a lot there's a lot going on with right, just with Better Worlds and then other projects, and so to be able to take that sort of like step back within that group and say, okay, how do we get into this flow, right? And then get Basil out of that, that part of the flow, right? And then get John out of that part of the flow. So that, I think that takes an initial, sort of effort and time.
It's connecting the endpoints. So right now I've been working with the teams for a long time of creating the engine, the production engine. But if you don't have the intake, the gas intake, then you don't have products coming out. So we've created the engine, but we need the marketing circle to direct the engine and say, here's where we're going. The marketing circle is with the client looking at the direction we're going, and then they're directing down to the production creatives, right? Kind of, in this model. And that's what's not been happening so far, because, I can only do so much. So now that we have people that are like good at sales and good at facilitation and good at project management and good at, then the overall network enterprise grade structure can start to emerge. And we have like this, the strong like engines to drive revenue, essentially.
Yeah, it's all there. So so that's my, from that project management standpoint, that's my question, is like where do we start, right? It seems like we're at marketing circle, and then in what project, in what capacity, right? And like start there, get one workflow that's going with the optimal part, the optimal people in the right place, right? And then get Basil out of there,
Yeah, let's start with what we've got, and because we haven't really done that. I'll come together interested and have a kickoff meeting that would be kicking Basil out of the marketing group.
Today, literally today, John is going to kick me out.
Yeah.
A kickoff. That's not kickoff meeting is not kick someone out, but I like it though. I like it. The kickoff meeting that kicks someone out of the thing. It's like, now you're free. You're free.
Then we'll be kicking Rob out of the center.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. I know. Yeah, kick me out of a lot of stuff. Crispus, did you have your hand up? Is there something you'd like to pop in?
Yeah, I was trying to just add on what Basil was saying, because it sounded like so inspirational for us. Because recently I just got an invitation from this organization called Flipdown. They're trying to start up introduce podcasts for creating some awareness to be part of their projects and something like that. So I think this would be a very good learning experience for us. I don't know whether Basil could share an invitation to the platform or something like that.
So Crispus, our lead host for Better Worlds, like our kickoff host, is Paul Moots. He's Ugandan. He lives here in Tulsa with us. His mother was the head of tourism. She's passed, but they run that pageant in Kampala. So we've been doing a lot of these, like, I threw him in the deep end on Web3, like, stuff, and so you need to meet him. So Kim can connect you. Yeah. So yeah, he's a really good host, educator, and an entrepreneur. So he's really good. I consider him like one of our local kind of EPs, but also to connect between Kampala and our Hubcast Media TV station stuff there in Kampala, back to our location here in Black Wall Street in Greenwood in Tulsa, and start to do that stuff over time.
But is Christmas also saying there's some opportunity here for podcasts working with a group that he's working with that we can get this group involved in, or is that what I'm hearing? Or am I wrong?
Come again, Kimberly?
Yeah, Crispus, is it? So Crispus, I think, can you clarify as far as like is there an opportunity for some folks here to get involved or to be involved in that podcast process? Is that what you're asking, Kim? Yeah.
Yeah, obviously the collaboration could be like in all directions. You understand? That would be very much beneficial if it's like that, because that's the way we always run it down here with a network of the people that I normally work with. Because when I do something or when they do something, they always make sure that there's an invitation or there's a recommendation somehow. So always having that is always having us collaborate on both ends is always something. We can share, if there's an opportunity to share on your end, you can share it. And if there's an opportunity on our end, it will be very much welcome. And most of the time, we are looking to support our projects and just create as much noise as we can. So taking any opportunity for us is something that we're always looking out for.
Yeah, great. Yeah, and there's ways where, right, that some of our time, right? Because like I think, right, Crispus, whether that's with me or somebody else, I think it's, good for us to get clear on, right, because it's like, okay, so, now Crispus is coming in and has certain skills, and certain things that he's good at. So then, so it's like, number one, okay, how are we collaborating with each other? Which is, we're starting to do that right now. How are we collaborating with each other, getting to know each other, knowing what, each other does well. And then number two is how are we operationalizing with each other? And that might not, always like come right away, but I think those are kind of like these two main goals or main steps. And I would love to hear, I would love to hear from Natalie and Zoe too. Yeah, I'd just love to hear like your thoughts on this and your ideas and, what sounds great, what sounds ridiculous, and, the whole deal. Natalie, you had your hand raised. Would you like to start?
Yeah, I can definitely, there was when Troy and John were here, you can tell they have a business background. They were coming through with some very strong, deliverables, strategy, marketing, success. And I was noticing in myself, the artist and healer, slowly like recoiling at those terms, being like, oh God, I don't even know what that means. So then it made me think about this concept you brought up of like the use case, like particular clients and who are we accessing. And then it made me think about this group of people and, part of, I guess, the objective would be to help them bring in more clients, more money, so to pay for services like this, because the people who are already like, overflowing with fiat, they don't need this service really, right? Like they're technically doing what they got to do and they're already like hardcore. But the fact of the matter is that like things in the broader system, the broader ecosystem are going to shift, and those super strong fiat oriented alpha companies are not going to necessarily have the ability to sustain is one thought. And so coming up with other systems like this is useful, and to find a creative way to start bringing in different resources, and maybe it will be trickling in at a different pace, maybe not. Like there may be super lucrative healers and artists out there that just don't have the organization yet, or are ready to expand in ways that we haven't yet imagined. But it also got me thinking about that money is as a like the challenge of money, and reflecting on my own experience with money, and if we are looking to access clients, and I think there's some kind of usefulness in understanding why that resistance and that blockage exists in the first place. So for me, these are the things that I came up with that are in my field of awareness. So there's a servitude and an inability to like earn money, like attract it, magnetize it, because there's sometimes an underlying belief of not deserving. There's a choice of disassociating from broken systems, like fuck the man, excuse my language. And so they don't care, they choose not to participate. Money can be associated with bad people, with greed, with crushing earth. And so there's like a noble choice in being like not rich, right? These are all subconscious, so beyond like the conscious acts of what someone's doing. Also, recently I've discovered there's this sense of making oneself small. So the risk of becoming successful means that I put myself in a place of loss. Like there's a chance that if I'm successful, I'm going to lose it. So you know what? I'm not even going to touch success. And then there's also that same concept could be said for time. It's like, yeah, I'd like to participate in these kind of collaboratory things, but I don't have time. Community takes too much work. So if there was a way that we could, I don't know, provide this like a healing space or something for someone to embrace or acknowledge those in exchange for like a percentage of onboarding, like as those perceptions begin to change, will they bring on more clients? Will they take on more success? So how does that look, and how does that apply within a group like this? I'll leave it there for now.
That was the first thing when I went deep into the forest to try to figure out was how to get rid of that core failure point of the individual. And so a lot of things are required. You have to give up doing, like having the notion that you can do anything. You can be bold, but you also have to not have expectation of success. And then it's just like finding that purpose and that intention that we can all surround, like growing the tree or growing the ecosystem, growing holistic systems economy, for instance. So to grow holistic systems economy, we can separate ourselves from I've been spending all this time how to separate from the negative strings attached to this currency we call fiat versus this other way that existed before. And then what the future looks like. And then seeds is part of that experimentation, seeds is part of the experimentation. But keeping that really pure, because the greed part of it is where the hoarding part of it is where it gets problematic for people. And so the basic thing here is that if we all agree in context for a overall vision that we all support in our own way with our own skills, and then as we're doing our work in that sort of ecosystem, that enterprising ecosystem, and we're going between organizations to help here, help there, gap fill here, or whatever we're doing, we're getting a piece of that overall soil base, that overall value, so that we, as we age from the time we start doing our research at age 5 until we're like in 105, we are growing this count record of what we've done in Boy Scouts and this and that, and we're growing this. And by the time we're in our 70s, all of that residual will be our social security net. That's what ultimately we have to create, so that we have, so that because what I saw is like, we can't be the Mark Zuckerbergs, we can't be the Elon Musks anymore, we can't be those single individual points per se. You can have our speakers, but the ecosystem itself cannot be dependent upon that one person, or it will fail. So we have to just show up together as like, you know, nature, like we're all part of one like thing, and like drop all of the positioning and the over reliance on credits and all of that stuff, and focus on growing the forest, generating the wealth, harvesting the fruit, sharing the fruit, and then doing that year after year after year after year like we normally do. We just have to get back to that sort of like community way of helping each other build each other's houses, helping to like grow the enterprises for the communities, for the planet in all markets. Not one big enterprise, but a lot of little ones. Each of us is one, and we're connecting all of the different enterprises. So that's how I kind of thought that we could get around the failure point of the individual CEO problem. Yeah. And yin, and it has to be the yang is great, but if it's not balanced, so even within Haifa, that's what Samara and is to bring that yin mind in to guide the developers, to guide the yang energy. So without that yin embrace to guide the direction of the yang could just it's burn everything down. So we have to. Oh, Maggie's here.
Hey, Maggie. I want to say, Natalie, and thank you, Basil, for sort of like giving that sort of framework to it. But Natalie, that was absolutely incredible and so well spoken. Yeah. That's why I'm here and not there. The space to, and then finding kind of really resonating. It's like, I want that space. Like, I want to build that. I want to build that space to heal those things. I feel all of those things. And that is, I think that's what we're building here, or that can be, just by you sort of expressing that. I think that's one step closer to that. Yeah, the whole of it. And then I think Basil sort of responding and making it, making it clear that this is a place that that can happen. Just thank you for sharing that, and it really affected me. Like, I had forgotten.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Zoe, I'd love to hear any and all of your thoughts, please. Hi, Maggie. Welcome.
Let's see. Today I don't have too much to share. It's I appreciated, like Natalie said, it was very hardcore businessy earlier on, and I do think that's good, because maybe we lack that thinking sometimes, but that is definitely pretty important right now, at least for me and Rob. Gotta survive. And yeah, we live in a contradiction, and it sucks that we have to rely on something that is tied to so much evil, but yeah, it's what we have to do to survive, at least for now. Hopefully not forever. Yeah, let's see. Maybe it will be nice for me to look at the notes later and sort of like try to summarize all the business minded tips and tricks that were mentioned earlier, really focusing on promoting the dream. I guess, how are we going to solve clients' pain points and really pushing that and formulating it into a dream. I like that. Oh yeah, and Kimberly, thank you for thinking of me with your justice client. I can't wait to hear more about them. Yeah, I think referring each other to clients like this will be pretty exciting. See what happens down the road.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I love that, right? So and Basil, I don't know, I just saw the chat, a safe space for us all to grow. Yeah, there's something where I'm like, I love the idea of like this, like space for us to play in this and breathe, you know, like how can we, you know, right? How can we bring in money? How can we, you know, right, in whatever ways we need to shift our relationship with that, you know, so that way there's enough, you know, space for us to be like, okay, let's play with this and let's try, you know, let's bring in a healer circle and, you know, what, right? So just to have that foundational base, and there is something that's like, you know, it is a shift I think it is a shift in mindset from the conventional mindset, right? Because at least in the United States, right? This seems very true for me. It's like, it's about getting rich. You know, like that's the thing. It's about getting rich, and it's about getting as much as you can, even if it's, you know, like that's the goal, right? And it's not even within the system. It's not like that's even wrong or greedy. Like that's how you have to play, you know, because you better get enough, or if you get old or you get sick or something, you know, then you got to have enough, you know, or else, right? So anyways, I think I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent, but you know, the idea is, or I think what brought me in is like, oh, well, what if there's a different mindset? Meaning like, can I have, right, I need enough, you know? And then if there's, and then where can we go from there? You know, like, where's my need point, right? Basil's talking about this. So I think, I don't know, there's a way where maybe I'm just speaking, you know, helping myself, but there's a way if I'm framing it in that way, right, then it is a different energy, you know, then I gotta like get as much as I can, you know, for as long as I can. Yeah, thank you, Zoe. You know, and there's also a way where, you know, this is kind of a separate point I just want to make, you know, is that, you know, like big picture, there's, you know, because like my real core passion, you know, is systems change, you know, and deep systems change. And right, I've been having conversations, you know, with people and you know, and questioning some ways where, you know, where it's like, okay, well, what I'm doing, is this system change? Is it not? I mean, I love it. You know, I love like the collaborative idea and creating new paradigms. That's my deal. But you know, I just want to sort of bring that in also as an open question, you know, for us, like what does create systems change? And, you know, is what we're working on, you know, the way we're doing that, is that effective, you know, and is it not? And yeah, so, right. Thank you for hearing that. Yeah, so I saw Kimberly's hand up and Crispus's hand up, and then it'd be great to hear from Maggie. Yeah, so Crispus, please.
Yeah, Natalie, thanks for those remarks. It really got me thinking, like really a lot, and it got me thinking because like using the reference that we used last time, if you want to beat the people, you gotta like think like them. So I was thinking like, I'm always thinking like a salesperson, right? Because really having to sell this thing and pushing it out there, it's all about selling the idea that look, we've had this kind of a different system that we've been using. Why not try this one out and then invest in the people? like let the people be like the forefront. And using another brutal example is like the military. I see, like I follow a lot about the military in the US. Like most of the US now, they use like private military companies, right? Times they don't want to use like the official army and things like that. So we can sell to these companies that idea. Like we could be like, to use a bad analogy, we could be their private military to come and deal with those like really brutal like situations. They want to handle like and quick and professionally. So like we need to sell this as a really people-centered idea, like invest in the people, like and like be like mercenaries, like sell ourselves as like mercenaries.
Just to follow that, I know, Natalie, but there was like like empathy, like an empathy mercenary, the people that would like jump in and give empathy at like car crashes and at things, and they were, yeah. So there's something to that, and to think like, you know, get inspiration and operational sort of tactics from maybe strange places, you know, you wouldn't think would be, but I'm for it. I'm strangely for it. Yeah.
Yeah, like most of the best ideas like come from strange places. And
yeah, for sure. So thank you. And Natalie, I see you got hand up.
Yeah, and you know, that's a good point to bring up, Crispus, because probably some of the most lucrative places in our systems, it belongs to the military. They probably have access to the most amount of money. So, I mean, there's got to be some components of their operations that you want to talk strategy. They've got it. But two other little nuggets I wanted to throw out there. I don't know if Rob is listening, but you know, the mother of invention is necessity. I've heard of stories of, like, you know, individuals who cannot for the life of them make money, and then all of a sudden their partner leaves them and they've got like 3 kids, and they like change gears like 100%, and they start bringing in what they need to bring in. So that is definitely, I know it may feel challenging right now, but I think you're operating from like a preparatory point of view. So you're in, you know, planning ahead, trying to find a way to make clients before it gets into like a situation of complete desperation, which is probably a good thing, but it will have different challenges because, like Grandpa always said, you can't force the apple from the tree. It will fall when it's ripe, right? So
freaking Grandpa.
So that's part of the biggest challenge right now, is just like waiting for things to ripen and, you know, getting all our bits and pieces in a row and trying to imagine the workflow before it's actually occurring. So, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. I know I could always like respond to everybody's comments, but you know, I also I don't need to put my voice in every time. Kim, you had your hand up before. Would you have something to you'd like to share?
I was just processing what Natalie had said, and I'm probably going to have to process it for a few more weeks because it was that good. Because it also went back to the first thing she said to me several weeks ago when I said, I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be, I don't know if it was rich and famous or it was like, what would you want to be famous for? It was our question.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, oh, I don't want to be. And she said, just think of how many healing or trauma centers or how many healing centers you could create if you were famous or if you know, had the money or whatever. So, you know, I struggle a lot with, I mean, I don't like money. So I struggle a lot with it, but yeah, so healing is definitely something that we need to bring into this process while we are creating these new systems So we are breaking what we've learned in the past and breaking that trauma and then learning new ways of doing it so it's healthy. So I'm fully in. Thank you.
Mm. Cool. Thank you. Yeah. Well, I'm right. I'm 100% for healing. Maggie, so Maggie and I had a meeting earlier today, and so I was able to kind of share the deal, with Maggie, so that way you all know that she's coming in with that the base idea of what we talked about. So yeah, I just would love to hear anything you'd like to share or pop in about what we've been talking about since you've been here, or just about kind of the general idea.
No, I think so I'm just thinking that because you guys were talking a lot about the healing, and I don't know, for my first thought is like, since it's really special to bring this healing process when you're doing like consulting for a business, I think it's really the key feature that we can provide to the client partners, right?
Mm.
Yes, I think that's really the thing that we are selling to them.
Mm.
To be clear, like that idea of healing in general, or like,
I think she's talking about something more specific, Maggie.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that because I think like Basil mentioned something about like Veritans or like people who had a traumatizing experience before. I'm just thinking that maybe in the future when we collaborate with these people when they're doing like businesses, we can also bring this like healing process. It can be like therapy or like some practices to them. That's just my first thought, so that when they're doing business, they can also experience this like healing process within the process of our like collaboration, I would say. Because I think
I think that says it. That's brilliant. That's really, really good.
yeah, because I think with Rob's previous meeting, we mentioned some like I can't remember about this healing topic.
Yeah, we were talking. Yeah, I mean, we were talking about like that, right? That target audience, that we were. I like that Newman said that, target audience, right? And how everything started, which is like helpers, healers, and change makers. It used to be helpers, healers, and visionaries.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I think it needs to change. Yeah, but helpers, healers, and visionary change makers, whatever. Yeah, and like how, right? Like how that is sort of about like that was like the client, right? That's how like like the whole thing started, right? Was just with that client. But then as we sort of like this larger idea comes into being, we say, oh, okay, well, where's like where are the healers? Where can they put in like where where does the client and the client partner and the team member, where is that line? It gets more blurry, right? And then a client partner, right, who's like Maggie is saying, who's a business, it's like, okay, I have this business. Okay, well, maybe you could use like some actual like healing,
Yeah.
work like, and and it's like as a even as like a business strategy, which is fascinating, right?
Let me
Yeah.
give you practical with our lead team, our A-list team, our A team right now, like Joost from Nestor, and then Daniel Swid, who's currently helping MRV Collective and D Studio and Better Worlds and all that. But they have spent a long time as a consultants going into organizations and healing them. Daniel's original company was called Bedtime for Big Monsters. And he would go into organizations and help them meet the monster and put it to sleep. And then Joost came into Haifa, same thing, taking like organizational analysis from each of the people, setting up the people circle, which is the most core circle. Troy and me and Alex Prate and Yus and Cece were all part of that original people circle in Haifa. And that was the core of the organization that they didn't realize. It's like, if we don't have that people circle to take care of the people, nothing else matters. So that's how we do it differently in our new way, holistic way. We put the people holistic, you know, we put we put that as a, it's like it, no matter how good the artist is, if they're not healthy, you know, like what's the point? So like our people have to have healers around, you know, like so in our organization, we're all training as healers and cross-training as healers in our application of tech, in our application of AI, in our application of all the tools that we're using. And so it's more like we're building a workforce with a shared intention to be helpers and healers to help this, the reality of what we're facing with everything that's going on. There's a lot of healing that needs to occur for the people on the land, and we can do that kind of together. And we have to help be that change maker organization to help activate that, and you know, and work with the others that are doing it too.
Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, go ahead.
Just briefly, I love including the land in there. I know Natalie is really, you know, keyed on the land part, and just all of that. But then a little exclamation point on the like the building a workforce with a shared intention to be healers of people and the land. I think those all go together, and it is that's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Thank you. Oh, right. This just popped in. Okay. Yeah. So I definitely have a group question here. Love feedback. Right. This is this was Zoe and I, right? This is how we left our meeting yesterday. You know, we were both, I didn't come up with an answer yet. I don't know if what you have, Zoe, but so the question like du jour for holistic systems, I think, or one of them is like, how are we marketing holistic systems now? Okay, so right, so Zoe and I are prepping. We're kind of ready to launch holistic systems social media. But there's this question now of like, okay, are we using social media like the holistic systems feed, our channels? Are we using that to attract team members? New team members to come in, because I think that's really important, because the more people who are coming in, then the more we can operationalize things and have referrals and all that. Or are we promoting like holistic systems, the business where people can come in and get whatever services? And, the question is there, then like what services, what services are we offering now, which is like, right, because that's probably going to change like in not too long. If this thing, if we continue to fly, right, in 3 months, in 6 months, we'll probably have a lot more specific sort of like, okay, services that we're offering. So, right. But how do we start? And then the final, question is, okay, well, if we're, now, then do we, well, there's another question, but I'll leave it there because I'd love to hear what people, if anybody has any thoughts on that.
I got something right off the bat. Because at some point I was like, oh, it's kind of like Fiverr. Okay, it's like Fiverr or some job board, gig board, where it's not competitive but collaborative, and it has like this intention and working in a different, moving away from that system, that we feel is broken. That's not serving needs, and we see we're, et cetera, et cetera. And there's all of that. And then I was like, who wants to be a part of that? But I think, but that could be kind of cool. I don't know exactly where that goes, but as far as like I think it is a question to answer, like what, and be very specific and clear, and it's sort of actionable. It's like once we decide, okay, the YouTube channel is for an internal communication, or like where we post these videos that are recording. And then how do we use the socials to get what we need? And that's, I think maybe Zoe would agree. It's just like, if you use social media without a real clear intention, without knowing the game that you're playing, then it can just use up so much time and just frustrate. So just saying, yeah, that is an important thing to work out. You know, how do we currently market the HSC?
Yeah. And do we keep it all together, or do we say, oh, Holistic Systems Cooperative is going to be the, you know, the side for, you know, for team members and marketing that way, and then create another side or another website, you know,
The way
that's
that-
like call it Holistic Systems, you know, and we're offering stuff. I mean, I don't, you know, sometimes I hesitate to break it all up. But
Well, your site tonight, the insight that I got from that, and it was part of an insight that I've been carrying, is that everybody in every organization needs their story stream. And so even within Holistic Systems, all of the members can have their site, essentially, and they don't need to worry about all of that back end handling because we have a system for that. But everybody kind of gets their sort of, you know, so it is like a Fiverr or an Upwork, wherein it's more collaborative and it's more team building to execute projects rather than just finding the one person for the lowest possible price. That mindset is driving me nuts, so I don't even participate really. So it's more like we help organizations and people find their ikigai. We help them to like connect their passion and their purpose with the professions and the skills required to be like, to be able to grow, to really be able to grow. And so everybody is unique, but everybody kind of needs the water, the food, the health, the love, and all of that. So everybody's the same. So we want to build lifelong relationships, not clients. Clients, there's no, what is that? We're collaborators. So you have money and you have need, and we have services and we need money. So we exchange and we're collaborating to help your business grow. And so that's the mind shift change on the market that we have to drive and educate the market to change the way they build their support teams. You know, they're a tree, you know, like one company is a tree and it needs other stuff around. It needs to connect the roots. And then it needs to have that hyphal fungal network of currencies moving through it. But the main thing is it needs to grow, and it can grow in all kinds of ways, and we can help it grow, you know. But people need to learn how to share the pie with every transaction, and like what they're giving, what they're, you know. So the way I view it is like if I'm making $2,000 for something, then like how do I divide that up? And so I don't even want to think about that. I want to put it into the ecosystem, the organism, and let the consensus work to like help best allocate that through our quests and bounties and manifestation. You know, so we need to bring that soil, that water in. So it's like we have right now we're like a bunch of trees and like animals and stuff, and we just need that water to come in to fill that reservoir, and then we can be like refreshed, and we can help a lot more people through the process of that. And so that's, you know,
but
ecosystem
so
growth.
I think I think you were speaking to it like at first, you know, and because that's I think what you're speaking to there feels, you know, like that, getting into that like larger, you know, like that's the story, that larger vision, you know, and where are we at now, like right, that's the question. You know, is like, is that, or the idea I'm hearing in regards to like social media is like, well, we tell our story, you know, we sort of like, you know, I mean, that's an idea, like we tell our story, the people tell their stories, you know, what we're doing in this broader sense. And then that's going to, you know, maybe that creates a funnel with people who are then going to be attracted to us.
Because then each person has their community and they have their relationships, and then they're plugged into HSC, which is also plugged into DStudio, Nester, all of that stuff, right? And then so one person with their community can offer all of these services from our network over time to their community. And so everybody becomes a concierge for their community. What do you need? You know? And that's in every community. So that's what we have to train is regenerative economists, sure. Techies, sure. Concierge to like connect the dots. That's what holistic systems, when people come in, we're like, spa treatment, just like real, like spa treatment, Thai spa treatment, not Thai that but like 5-star Thai, not red
Yeah,
light.
yeah. So that, right. And then we're right. So then we're getting, so I think we're talking about what you're bringing in is like, like what is our like sales pitch and what is our offering? And then how does that connect, which is a good question, right? For social media, I mean, this is a question that I'm having, for holistic systems now. Because that's, like what a lot of, part of what you're talking about there is also the, like the vision. Do we start talking about that? Does that bring people in? What are we, like, what are we offering now? Maggie.
Yeah, just going back to the meeting that I had with you earlier. So we mentioned about like we can do some like case or like projects for the organizations that we already have connection with, and we can maybe build a story of succeed or success, and we can put the stories on the website. I think that can work in both ways in terms of like finding more client partners or like finding more like team members for our organization, because other businesses will read the stories or case and will be attracted by the achievements that we have made. And also on the other hand, like people who are interested in our organizations will read the stories and think, whoa, whatever you guys are doing is pretty cool and I want to join you guys. So I think the case the projects is definitely a good approach for now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. And that's a good, thank you. I think that's actually a good segue into, because I'm noticing, I mean, I can go longer, but I always want to, notice that we're like 10 minutes, from the 2-hour point, and, make sure to be able to free people at that point who want to fly free. So that, I think that's a good segue into like, okay, what are our action steps? Who are, like what next steps do we have? What next meetings, do we need to have? Really, right, getting into, right, because we're saying like, okay, well, we really want this to be this collaboratory laboratory. I think we're all sort of in the same, sort of vision on that. And we're saying like, okay, we who, I'm going to do this for Newman, we who are here, we who we have here, whatever it was. What can we do and start operationalizing now, right? So what can we, because we've got, right, we've got these, these case studies, right? So we have, whether it's D Studio or, Better Worlds, right? There's like this, the Lockyer method, there's holistic systems, those are 3, like, where we can start getting going on them right away. So, and with that, like, where are we spreading our time and resources? Meaning like, what can we do with Better Worlds? And, like what can we do with clients that are actually bringing in fiat money now? How much, where is that getting resourced, to? And then how much can we do just for these kind of case studies where it's prospective, where we're saying, okay, well, we're going to work on, this D Studio, product, like podcasts, and we're going to say, we're going to start selling this, and we're going to get that case study going. So, yeah, I think it's it's a matter of like resource management. So like, maybe this.
Let's make it easy. Let's make it easy. So let's still see things as gig-based, right? Even though we're working as collaborative teams, they're still gigs. So it's like we've got Better World's Ocean podcast. We've already recorded 10 episodes and now they're going to go into distro release marketing. And so we're going to design a model for that. We've got Restorathon is its own product and its own, and then each thing we set the like Better World's like overall brand, like website marketing, and then like specific like podcast show models to build our marketing template so we can get the analytics back so then we can start to really sell. So so what we have is we have Green Planet, Blue Planet, which is, we can blow up. And then Restorathon, we can continue to like amplify, but the Better Worlds is our foundational resource. One of them. But that's like the one that we can get a lot of just like soft monies coming into our projects to handle our production services, our marketing services, our project management services, and our sponsorship, and gathering more revenue. And then Holistic Systems is getting commissions off the top of every D Studio sale, every Better World sponsorship sale, every Restorathon sale, 20-25%. And then that way we can bring in the money by selling each other. And so like I want Holistic Systems cards so that when I find the right kind of entrepreneur people that need our services, I can like filter them in so they can get the full power of our holistic concierge service. But for like rapid flipping pancakes, like podcast production is weekly flow, it's fast money. It's just anything that's like fast money.
Yeah. So those are, we have like these options, right? So so then I think the next question is like, where do we start? What do we choose, right? So we've got, there's Better Worlds in that ecosystem. So and I think you and Kim already talked about, one place, to where social could get plugged in so, we start maybe one place in Better Worlds, we start,
model a product, just model the ocean podcast. So we've got Kate Wing and we've got all these famous scientists and people that we've interviewed, and we did it pretty well. And so so we'll be able to get thousands of views with just a basic sort of organic marketing strategy on that. I think.
And is that one right? So is that, but there's not a present time budget, right?
Right now, there's just going into essentially D Studio, there's just 2K a month flow that needs to grow. We need to like double it, triple it, quadruple it quickly as we go through the quarters here. But that money has been just to support like me handling way too much, and Kim doing some of it, and Troy doing some of it. So it's been Troy, me, and Kim. Troy creative, me production, Kim communication, scheduling, project management.
Right. Yeah. So that is, so as far as like, if we're looking at, Holistic Systems is coming in. Yeah. I mean, there's kind of two main project types, there's ones that have budget and there's ones that don't have budget. And of course you do not have to justify, you getting, money for you taking money, but it's really, so that's really like the spirit.
Well, if I do that, we fail. We do that. So
that's the spirit that I'm coming in with. No, really, no, but I mean, forgetting that, like, just basically saying like, from project management standpoint, okay, we have, certain amount of like team member, resources. So we want to put them on project A and B. One of those we want, should have some budget, and then one of them, doesn't need to. And then that's kind of like our case study, sharpen the sword, work with the team kind of thing. So if there might be more, but like it seems like that could be a good place to start, A and B.
Department kind of like circle, department, focus. So the marketing circle connected with the sales, and then there's going to be that whole grant writing circle that's going to be going up soon. So, the production is fine. We just need to handle like the marketing side of things, better project management, client management for the clients. Because we have the clients. We have no shortage of clients with money. We just have to make sure that we can handle them. Daniel's bringing them in. He's still kind of account director for D Studio, bringing in like real clients, real production, major organization.
Yeah. So
and that's all in-house still, so it's still safe. It's still safe.
Yeah. So where do we go? Where do, if we pick two places for Holistic Systems, who we have here, I'm not saying it right now, but if we pick two places, that we go, like where do we start? I mean, I think that's where we start. right? You don't have to have that answer right now, but I think that's, you know, that's what we're
Well,
saying. is it-
I'm in daily, weekly flow, and I'm failing at it because I'm not good at social media management. But I'm
Right.
failing miserably. I got to get taken off of that.
You
that I
have to,
can
right. So,
excel.
okay, so where do you, what one project are you
Better
the
Worlds,
most
Better
failing
Worlds
at, the most
website.
miserable at that?
Better Worlds, programming the buffer for weekly social
Okay, yeah, and
content
you gave
programming
me
for
the
Twitter and
details. Yeah,
LinkedIn.
I started working on that, the specs for that.
And that's our, you know, if we show that, because we're already distributing in China, and once we start bringing the China back into the weaving it with, because we've got Better World's China team and a Western team. And
Yeah,
so ultimately we're going to be weaving those even more intricately. But right now we just have to show up and show what we can do like a polished network agency, which we are not yet, but we've got to look like it.
totally. Yeah, right. And I mean, I looked over those specs that you know, that you said, right? And there's quite, and, you know, it's like if Marketing Circle, right, comes in, then we say, oh, okay, like we can do this better, we can do this better. No, you're doing this. This is great. This is sucking. So, all right, so that's number one. So does Better Worlds Social, does that have like a budget, fiat money budget?
Yeah, not much, but yeah.
Okay, but that's something, you know, like, and you know, we
Start
can
with-
see,
we
but
start
like,
with like
I have this
designing,
like this like saying or thought or what, you know, it's like the difference between 0 and something is a lot bigger than something and a little more than something, right? You know?
Yeah.
So
what we have to do is we have to sort of design like what is our package marketing cost for every single podcast show we create for somebody.
right, and we do that by like actually getting in there and doing it and
seeing what it takes.
yeah, and right, and charting it, right, and that's what we're doing. That's what we want to be doing. That's what we want to be. We're talking about want to be doing
We're still, like,
independently, right? So
training.
Zoe is working with other clients, or Newman, you know, with other clients. She's honing down, saying like, okay, if I consult with somebody, you know, like this is what it takes and this is what it costs. You know, if I'm doing like, you know, 5 posts a week, you know, plus engagement, like this is the price. So, all right, so we've got one. So Better World Social, you gave me I mean, and if that's got funding, yeah, then we go, and then let's take, you know, like take number 2 and we call it, you know, like the case study one. You know, and you know, right, there's ones, and I think with these ones that are just going to be more like case studies, sharpen the sword ones, what are the projects that are like closest to, you know, what are the projects that if we push it over the edge, there's going to be, you know, like money coming in? That seems like a good target, right?
Better Worlds, yes. That can go to large, you know, annual budgets. Our MRV collective, they want me to shoot, you know, they're funded, you know, they're funded, but they're new. But yeah, they want me to shoot in Costa Rica in August. I don't know if I'll want to be me or I'll send somebody, but yeah, like real production, corporate fund, you know, so we have that. We have access to that kind of corporate level, you know, maybe not like huge advertising budgets, like 7 figures for us to work with yet, but we can start to get our like 100K to 200K a year per client kind of flow.
Is there, yeah, and is there something that's there that this we who we have here, Holistic Systems team can jump in on?
Well,
or is it not quite ready yet?
Right now, we need to show that we can handle basic social media programming. We just have to show that we can handle that.
Okay. All right. So
we just don't have, we have me and overstretched people like trying to handle too many tasks.
Yeah.
If the Marketing Circle of Holistic Systems on a contract, you know, for a project, you know, through our proposal mechanisms or whatever, we can do it like offline, but we still want to put it into the chain. If we can like structure the relationship for like the service that starts with whatever Zoe has come up with for what it takes for one person to handle weekly posting cycles per one client, and then how many of those can she handle a week?
Yeah.
And then that's the max of her load, and we need to see what that total is. And is that good?
So yeah. So it sounds like I mean, so maybe we do, because I mean, this is what I'm thinking, you know, if like we start with two projects. So it sounds like maybe we start with Better World Social, right? Even though it's not a lot, there's still budget.
Which includes
There's-
Restorathon, Green Planet, Blue Planet, multiple other podcasts, and all of the past libraries that we can work with.
Yeah. So that's right. So that's significant, right? And there's some budget, right? So we're saying, okay, we can do that. There's something coming in, and then we pick a second project. I mean, maybe we pick, you know, like La Chiara method. You know, I mean, I know there's holistic systems, but you know, like La Chiara method is a, you know, like there's a couple of healers who have like this great product. They went through a whole full rebranding. They don't have to, like, their branding and sales messaging is ready. They just need the actual like social. They're going to do really well on social. They need the social. They need some email marketing help, right? And they need the analytics to you know, hone what's working. And you know, like there's, you know, and they also need what they need is like online courses. They have even video for it. Like I've started working on all this stuff. They have video for it. If we can they have already a community platform, but they don't have the stuff, you know, ready to sell. So I'm just saying that's one a case study we could go on. You know, I mean, there's another one which is create, you know, the like, you know, D Studio podcasts, you know, so create that, you know, so that's a second one, you know, so I think maybe we start with like 1 and 1. Do we start with that?
I mean, technically, like Better Worlds is we are creating a global media network from the grassroots. And D Studios, we're creating a global production services system to handle lots of studios and talent from the grassroots. You know, and so all of this stuff is, and so what I was going to say about the case studies is what I recommend, Zoe and Rob, is like whenever we have a new potential client and we're going to potentially do an account with them, and we're going to say, okay, Better Worlds is going to pay this amount a month for retainer, and then there's going to be extra money for production and other things, and then advertising and stuff. So so then we just have to sort of develop that case study. Like, okay, we are Holistic Systems. We agree that we like what Better Worlds is doing, and we agree as a community. We say yes. We vote in the DAO. We say yes. We will take on Better Worlds as a customer, or as a, you know, we'll work with Better Worlds, and you know, we have to do that with everything, I think. And then it's just a case of like figuring out where Better Worlds is now. So like a quick analytics scrape of like where it is now, the numbers across all of the things, and that's our starting point. And then 3 months later, we see where we are, and that's going to be like way higher. And then and then we put that on the website. You know, we help take Better Worlds from
absolutely
1 podcast a week to 4 podcasts a week to 5 podcasts a week to 24/7 streaming by the end of Q4.
Yeah. And that's it. And that's right. That's big to have, you know. Then we get some testimonials. And so, so I'm saying, like, let's, you know, we're ready. Let's, you know, let's do that, you know. And so I think we have 2, right? We have, so we have Better Worlds. I say you know, I think La Chiara method is very, you know, worthy of that. And that could be 2 case studies, right? Which we're going to be able to produce more results. I mean, it's actually, they're both fairly easy, because right now there's not that much like happening on them. So
we have 2 more. We have 2 more. The one that Kim talked about today with Block Builders, which is dealing with people who are coming out of incarceration and stuff. Housing and healing. And then we have Native Oklahoma magazine, nativeoklahoma.us, that currently is just being run by our partner by himself, gathering all the stories. But like we can like boost that like crazy. It's already got probably a good audience, but we can like even like boost it further. So that would be a huge case study for Holistic Systems to have Native Oklahoma magazine, D Studio, you know, DAO services, admin or whatever, project management services, sales, Better Worlds network development, this other one that you're talking about for them, And then that way we showed our scope.
And
We are
yeah,
really
and
a full
whoever I'm,
scope.
yeah. So I say we start with two. You know, we start with two, and then that's
We build from there, but yeah.
yeah. We start with two. We go from there, and then those are like right. That's doing what holistic systems is doing, and then we figure out. I mean, we still need to figure out what is holistic systems. What are we selling now? What's our our specific offering? I don't know that we need to flush that out anymore now, but also so I think the idea, right, at least for like for me, I think for all the folks here, it's like we're doing those case studies, that with holistic systems, and then we're also doing whatever else we're needing to be doing, right? So if I need money coming in, then I'm looking to find client partners there through my networks, right? And now, are they coming in through? Am I bringing them in through holistic systems or just through Rob Hurwitz? I don't know. Got that? Like these are good questions, and I mean, I think that this is I mean, you all can tell me, but I think that there is like a, that's why I sort of wanted everybody to share today and to hear this, because I think it is a foundational kind of shift. It's not a foundational shift to me at all in like the basic idea, in like the what we're doing in the collaboration and resource sharing. It's not in the goal. It's just a shift in the business model, and it's a shift in the roadmap, and it's just like how we're getting there. So yeah, so I mean, if we start, I think this, that's the way to start, is start with like those, together, those two case studies, right? And then we have something that we're working on right away. Hopefully it can be like worthwhile for everybody, and for everybody's time. Then hopefully it can be right, leading to newer clients. I don't know. Sound like a plan?
It's good. I mean, are we agreeing to it now, or is it, is this an agreement type of meeting, or
I don't know that it's it's not, it's probably not I'm going to hold you to it agreement meeting.
Yeah.
What's required is that Kim and Zoe, and then Kim and Zoe need to get together, and then on the Better Worlds marketing strategy, I've got to deal with that. I've got to start programming today. I've got to at least do this week, and
I mean, we need to have a meeting.
We have to have a separate like department circle meeting. Like, okay, here's the project that marketing circle is required for. Marketing circle looks at it. What do you guys think? Should we do it? Yes or no? How much is it worth? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we have to do essentially the same thing like that we would do if just Better Worlds was a client. Like that we're coming in. We're just like, okay, we're gonna have an initial meeting with you, and we're gonna figure out what your needs are, and then we're gonna bring in some ideas, and then we're gonna talk about it, and then we're gonna go back and we're gonna create your quote and what we think you should do, and then that's it. And then we get going.
Love it. Yeah.
Okay. So Basil, do you want to tell me? Because you can tell me like who or you and I, Basil, can be in touch about getting that meeting going with the right
people. Zoe is the circle lead. Then theoretically, then at least to start it off, if she's the circle lead, then the other people have to show up to that meeting with Zoe, and then Zoe can pick the times, I guess, for that. But then she just has to inform, like, we just have to like set the meeting, and then have just a focus meeting for marketing circle. Here's the demand. Here's what's on deck.
Right, for marketing circle, but we need the info. But marketing circle is having that meeting with whoever in Better Worlds understands what's going on.
Yeah, which is me, Kim, Daniel. And then yeah.
Yeah.
So we built everything up, and now it's just we just need to start programming it in and changing the flow. Instead of production trying to drive marketing is pulling production. you know,
Exactly.
kind of, you know, it's like directing production almost, partially. It's a back and forth.
Yeah, it's like like stop doing what you shouldn't be doing. Um, it's like, yeah. It's like me trying to, I don't know, be a golfer or something.
For us to like maintain sustainable economy, there has to
Have
be a
meeting
weekly sales
with-
meeting, a weekly marketing meeting, and then like, you know, like those two things especially like are core sort of marketing sales and account handling, and then our marketing meeting, and then our organizational DAO, and then this meeting.
And yeah, you know, I mean, and all of it, right? Like, and you know, and just to say, like, you know, like I'm feeling, you know, a lot of energy for very practical stuff right now, you know, and like, you know, the bigger ideas, and you know, the DAO building and all of that. Like, I don't feel like I have, you know, that it's time well spent to, you know, like really get into that at this point. You know, I mean, I think that everybody, you know, I mean, we understand, yeah, that vision, you know.
We will take
all of that,
everything
I
we
think
do.
right now, you know, like next 3 months, you know, it's just like, let's just get this stuff like operationalized. I mean, I think, you know, I think that like the folks here have, you know, have the basis, you know, like integrated, you know, enough of like what it is, the collaboration, decentralization, that yeah, we can continue to kind of work in that way. So I'm just, yeah, I want to just name that.
Yeah, so we have the customer base already in hand. We just have to serve them and bring in.
So we need
pitch
a
budgets
meeting,
and maybe
so
some grants.
yeah. But once we start, that's how we. So
We've
all right,
already
so
started for years with a lot of these. So it's like Regen Network and other ones. So it's more just like we just need to go to them with our offerings to help them grow.
Yeah. So let's start getting our offerings. Well, I mean, we have our, yeah, so let's, right, I mean, I think that's the thing, let's operationalize. So basically, number one, we need a meeting with you, Kim, Daniel, right, and HSC Marketing Circle, you know, and right, Zoe, if Zoe would like to be like the marketing circle lead, and that's not, you know, required. So I think that's number one. And then I think number two is a meeting, right, with, I mean, I would love, right, like a meeting with Newman, Maggie, Zoe. I guess that's a place to start, whoever, you know, but like and then we get going on the La Chiara method. We can do that really quick.
I'm formulating an email right now just to get it going. I only have emails for, oh no, I have everyone's email right on the group thread. So who should I be emailing to set up this first meeting, at least about socials, but I guess it'll lead to more socials and then marketing and more.
Yeah. I think if we, I mean, I think you know, like, I think you, myself, I mean, you know, Maggie, if you're ready to you know, jump in, then I think it would be great if you were there. You know, I mean, Newman, we have to talk about what your, you know, again, like what your role, we don't want to spread you too thin. Are you in marketing, or do you want to like concentrate more on like, you know, on you know, online courses? Because there's already, you know, stuff there.
Yep, I'm ready to go where it was needed most, for sure.
How has onboarding been going?
It's been good. It's been good. No new folk this week. But new people are going on, and I've been onboarded to the process, meaning that I'm like familiar with the different tools that we're using, and I feel like we can operate the thing. And we've gone through, I don't know, 4 or 5 of these presentations. So yeah,
it's going I'd say really well, right? And Newman is like just like kicking ass, really, you know. And it's like, if he's
up with demand. So here's the chicken egg situation. Like, Rob, you were trying to get the people together so then you could go to market with the people. I've been getting the people together and going to, you know, and getting the market ready, getting all the customers ready, so that when the people were ready, then we could serve the customers. And so Newman, you're going to have to be able to keep up, or that circle for onboarding is going to have to be able to keep up, because we're about to go into full production mode with
Yeah.
like real production budgets, which requires hundreds of people. And they all have
Yeah.
to be onboarded into our accounting system.
Newman is like the perfect
Yeah.
person for it.
Yeah.
No, I mean, really, he's like, yeah. To do that and to, you know, to keep up, but to create like the documentation, you know, for
Yeah.
and
The
make
process,
sure
I'm a process oriented guy. Like I kind of get the things that can scale and things that can't. I have an eye for automation. I have an eye for visualization and, you know, and humanity too. Like it's, those things happen so that we can, you know, computers are computers so that humans can be humans and not the other way around.
Yeah. Well, I mean, right now it's like, I think that's what I'm saying. Like right now I'm like, yeah, let's bring in, you know, any and all client partners, like we're ready, you know, and part of that is like, okay, like, you know, Newman's ready, you know, like the onboarding, you know, and outreach process is, you know, it's ready, it's good.
Production's ready. The only thing that we have not shown to all of these customers yet is our ability to handle social media. The minute we
Yeah.
can show that, it's yes,
I
we want you to
mean,
help us.
yeah, let's make it happen. I mean, you wrote me those specs, you know, like those basic specs on Better Worlds. I mean, I already wrote up, you know, a little bit of like, okay, this can take this amount of time. I mean, like, that's not that difficult.
Well, and it's a fun process, and we're working with like a giant in the industry. Like it, you know, like the person that's backing us here is just a giant, you know.
Yeah.
And
Natalie,
very far, you know?
Natalie, anywhere you would like, you feel inspired to participate in this, or you're just, you know, I don't know, enjoying the process, or.
Yeah, it's interesting. The meeting took a very different turn at the end here. And I cannot promise anything because I like or 2 hours and a half into the meeting, I'm you know, a little fried, so I cannot commit, but I am sure once things get up and going, I do really well with direction. Also, if there's like, I have a lot of experience. I love editing. I'm one of those weirdos that can sit there and like, ooh, fun editing. So, you know, like I'm sure there'll be a point where there'll be like
Yeah.
loads of stuff, and I'm happy to throw down if there's a need. So
Well, then let me show, then maybe
Great.
Rob, like, that's a meeting that I should show Natalie, like what I'm doing with the Oceans podcast and just sort of the process of designing these like kind of rapid cycle, you know, podcast series and shows, and see what you think, you know, because I don't have any time to really put any editing mind into it. I'm just trying to get it done, you know.
okay.
Good.
Yeah.
Maggie
Yeah.
and Newman,
All right.
could you put up your email into the chat? Maggie and Newman, if you want to be part of the socials and marketing meeting coming
Oh,
up.
please, yeah, actually, that would be beneficial. Even if I'm not, like, you know, I wouldn't mind being in that circle.
Nice,
Great.
thank you.
Yeah. This is,
Sorry, I
yeah,
couldn't find
this
your
is
email.
good. This is a good real start. This is like 2 projects, you know, operationalizing, and right, and then we can feel more confident to go into, right, like Basil is saying, we can feel more confident to go out and say, hey, yeah, you know, like we got the people, we've got this, you know, we've got a you know, put it out on social, you know, we got a special, you know, this week special $299.99 for, you know, social media something.
Buy 3 podcasts, get 1 podcast free.
Yeah, exactly.
Just trust me, in about 5 or 6 years, that I know, maybe sooner for me, just to put all of my photo assets under one DAO like hold, yeah, it's like people just be like buying tokens for access Basil to come shoot pictures or something, or like Yulian to come do a coaching ceremony, and then like we're like tokenizing our lives a little bit. We're saying this is how much my value is, and then if people want access to me, you know, here's what, you know, they can like pre-invest, you know, in that access while it's cheap. Get it while it's hot right now, because the price of the Basil token is definitely going to be going up because he's still just a single human being. You can't do everything.
I like it. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, so Crispus, so I know, and I want to, Crispus, you and I can, so the question, I guess, is, and maybe we can have a conversation about this, you know, as far as like what, you know, what you're interested in getting in on. We're starting to talk about like operationalizing, you know, our team, you know, and so we were talking about like marketing circle and, you know, plugging that into a couple of projects. You know, one has like some funding, you know, and one is, you know, more just like for a use case and sharpening the team. So yeah, that's a question. We can talk about that. I have some sense that probably should let people go soon. Even
Yeah.
though, you know,
Sure. I can come in right now.
so maybe we kind of like do a wrap up, and then Crispus, if you want to stay, you and I can talk about that, and then anybody else can as well. How does that sound?
Sure. That would be convenient for everyone because I kind of dropped out, so I need to take the edit on the minutes.
Yeah.
Did Crispus want to be part of the social media and marketing meeting coming soon?
Sure.
Could you drop your email into the chat then?
Okay.
Yeah, big meeting, maybe.
Yeah. Perfect. So, you know, thank you, everybody. You know, it's exciting to sort of say like, all right, we're gonna get in on some projects together and start working. That's pumping me up, you know.
Does feel cool. That does feel
Yeah.
cool, you know.
Yeah, the collaboratory laboratory. I think if you know, to give a like homework, you know, if there's homework, it's not required, but if anything that pops in, you know, as far as like holistic systems and like, okay, how are we marketing holistic systems, you know, now, if any sort of like big bright ideas, you know, come through, feel free to pop those in. Otherwise,
I put operationalizing your vision.
Operationalizing your vision. Oh,
Kind of a key. Everybody needs help with that. You know, it's just putting the requirement that somebody with a good idea needs to like spend years developing a board, finding VCs, and like negotiating with banks, and all of this stuff that's required to like operationalize their vision is just so outdated. And there's a lot of people that are not with good ideas that are not growing up. So we can help cultivate the growth of many ideas.
Oh, good. Yeah, thank you. Somebody's writing that. Operationalize.
I've got ideas that can be operationalized. I have a vision that can be operationalized. I want to help with this is going to work out great because, you know, helping, I mean, then this is the mindset, like, help me, help you, help us. You know, where's Jeffrey? Where's Jeff? Where is that guy?
Yeah, I was wondering where is Jeff? Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes he forgets that meetings are on. I probably have an email from him saying, "Do we have a meeting today?"
It's as long as we got some of his words, his spirit is still here. So I think that one of my takeaways before I go, my brain is like, it's like shutting down. It's like the HAL 9000. It's like they're pulling the things out of the thing. But I do want to say I really appreciated like everyone's own stream. You know, like sort of maintaining your own like your work and like what you're taking in and out and being a node on the network and concierging the network, being able to facilitate like the connections and run the network. It's like, oh, now I know, like, this is what's going on over here. That's what this is going on over here. Because I feel like I can be, I feel like what Natalie says, and I'm going to start crying. But no, like like that underselling and feeling magnetized in the wrong direction to money and all this weird like psychological things that go on when I try to like participate in bigger endeavors other than just, I'm just gonna sneak in and try to, like a little mouse, like a little, Chinese rat that I am. I can just come in there and get a little, just what I need, and then I sneak off and hope nobody sees me. And then I'm like, okay, I can, when I've got a gang with me, Crispus mercenaries of empathy, like healing, planet echo warriors out there, like that's the team that I want to be on. But it's a part of the right mindset, or the mindset that fits me now, yeah, so that's what I want to leave on. Thank you all so much. Much love. All right, bye.
Thank you. Thank you,
Awesome.
Newman. Yeah.
Thank you.
Who else would like to check out?
I can, I'll Basil here, gain ownership just by being, and we are the client for ourselves. So yeah, that's something that I've been working on, being responsible for the energy coursing through me. Yeah, okay, so I really enjoyed how the meeting switched from like lots of like talk and theory to some very actionable items. So awesome, feeling good.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, love that. Check out Maggie, check out.
Yeah. Well, at least I'm pretty excited about the meeting that's coming up soon. Finally, we have something concrete to do, and I will check out the Google Analytics tomorrow, today or tomorrow, and get back to you later.
Yeah. So can I comment here? I am loving Maggie's like enthusiasm and go get it attitude. Like that is coming through big. Can I just say, because what I heard was finally, like we just had like our first meeting earlier today. She's like, finally we have something to work on, I love it.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Like I think Zoe probably maybe knows the best of how excited I am to have somebody be like on analytics. In fact, I'm sorry, this is just, I'm going to tell this story because it's very short and it's kind of, it's sad but funny, right? So I was bringing on, this was back before, this was when I was like, in some ways hiring people, right? And so I was bringing on like a social media manager and interviewed people, and I interviewed Zoe, and I went with like some other person who was like, I don't know, they were not a good fit, and it lasted like, a week. But I didn't bring on Zoe, and I brought on this person because like they said they were like this analytics like expert master, and I'm like, you know what? I don't care, forget content, forget whatever. I just need somebody to do analytics, right? And then then it didn't work out, and then I was like, all right, well, I better go. And I so luckily I had the chance to rectify that mistake, and
But,
so
well, I would say that I'm not mastering analytics. I'm still like graduate student. I'm still in the stage of learning a lot of new stuff. But yeah, I'm
It's
happy to
so
help.
much more than we know. It's a lot more than we know.
yeah, it's true. And I do want to say that, so you've actually learned a lot about analytics, and metrics since we've been working together, I think.
But not Google Analytics. That's
Well, no, not Google
Yeah, that's
Analytics.
also new to me. I need to dig into that.
Yeah,
cool.
that's the thing. Okay,
Well,
sorry. Zoe, would you like to check out?
Sure. Yeah, it's super exciting. Like Rob said, having someone on the team who knows analytics and also is just, excited about working together. And I'm also excited about, Basil's and Kim and these studios are bringing so many cool opportunities our way, and hopefully we'll expand and bring opportunities their way as well. Let's see. I'm going to like start making an HSC Instagram. And Rob and I have been talking about how to market HSC We sort of talked about it today, but we didn't really concretely come up to any conclusions, I think. So maybe we could talk about how we're going to market ourselves too later, but maybe also let's just focus on getting Basil's clients, and that's the priority now, maybe.
That's why we're building our own
We can do
network.
all-
That's why I recruited Hubcast Media for our live streaming global broadcast. That's why I've recruited all of these different infrastructural layers and hyphen everything in HSC to build this like massive like support network that can really serve a lot of things. And Better Worlds is elevating the hosts, all of the businesses, and then we're going to start putting our advertising into it, our PSAs. And so you can start to imagine like on the Better World site, the holistic systems banner ad that draws it
Okay.
back to holistic systems. And then,
Okay,
and then,
cool.
and then that way we can really start to build our own network with our own advertising revenues and it starts to get really regenerative if we do that. We'll still go out to the other ones, but that's
Okay, so are you saying we should focus on
building Better
advertising
World.
within the community first, like within the DAO community first, and maybe not do an Instagram page yet, maybe?
Well, in the beginning days of Seeds, I was artificially like holding back like too much outward facing, and we literally did not do Facebook and stuff and Instagram for a reason.
Okay.
Hold the authenticity so it doesn't move too fast when we weren't ready for it yet. The tech wasn't ready, and it's still not ready. So right now, if we have so many amazing people and so many amazing projects that we can like turn on and get economy from,
That's
and
awesome.
and then we can be softer about it, so we don't have to be like hard sell, and we're more like people want to work with us. We want, so that by quickly getting our case studies on the holistic system site of like how it's like bringing this entity and this entity and this entity to serve this customer, how it's bringing this entity, and this entity to serve this customer. And we start to show the case studies of how holistic system helps design a holistic whole system plan for things like say somebody in Uganda wants to, build their own private, network. We can help them with that. We've got the tools, the people, and the case studies now, or soon. After Better Worlds, then it's going to be Native Oklahoma News. And then we have Indigenet, which is a global indigenous thing.
And
We've already
it's-
got Channel
yeah,
U
yeah.
in Uganda. Yeah.
And yes to all that. Yeah. Yes to all that. And that's the plan, right? And like, where's the revenue, where's enough revenue coming in the next 60 days? Because that's like, I still kind of want to keep pulling us back there, pulling us back
Bottom lines.
next 60 days,
Bottom lines.
because we need to be, there needs to be some revenue coming in that next 60 days, by that next 60 days, or else, who knows what happens the rest of the time and what's possible. So
yeah, are
just-
these like Indigenet and all these other names you listed, they're like connections you have, but they're not like there's a chance we can't get them as clients. We'd have to
we're effectively for the Indigenet, we're building the indigenous board for that. And this is a California-based team that's now bringing me in. We have a whole nother like healing client with Mayacamas and generosity.com. We have all of this stuff around us. We just need to show them what we can do, and then they will trust us to do that for them. It's essentially where we're at.
So you're not like already doing work for them, but the connection is there.
That just happened a couple weeks ago. Native Oklahoma News, though, we've been working on for 12 months to get ready. And now we just have to get the fundraising.
Yeah. Yeah. So there might just need to be like some bridge, some smaller bridge clients here. Because if we're working on these case studies, in strategic places, that's great, but like I'm gonna need a couple, bridge clients then to, get me to that point, when the
So easy bridge
team is ready.
clients. So like I said, when the projects that I get to do video or photography for commercial, like for resorts, for spas, for restaurants, for organizations, NGOs, foundations, and major networks, those are pretty big budgets generally, relatively. They're not like, they're in the like 5,000, 10,000, 20, 50,000, and we only need like one of those a month to support quite a few people. So that's the Robin Hood effect you were hinting at earlier. We have to bring in those monies and then to support the team. And in the old model, as a freelancer, when you have an opportunity to get the money, you want to take it all for yourself. You don't want to put it into some other system that's owned by all these other people. So that's the mindset shift we have to get away, where we get the funding coming in through our systems. We're sharing that with holistic systems OpEx. We're sharing that with D-Studio OpEx. And then it's feeding all of the labor and all of the people. That's, so we're not reinventing the wheel here. We're just creating an agency for good. And people can defer their revenue streams, and that might be needed to start things generally, but they get a piece of that economy and they become owners of what they do.
Yeah,
That's what we're proving.
yes. And right, and the next 60 days, like what's like, like what's coming in.
10 people, 3,000, that's $30,000 we have to have. So like to support 10 people sustainably, like I'm sure like averaged out, like between like 1,000 for one person to up to like 3,000, maybe 4,000. That's gonna be pushing it for our team right now. I would say right now, we need to get the budgets in and do our best to like carve them up so that we're like feeding everybody.
Right, but all I care about now is where they're coming from.
Yeah, so Better Worlds, and then MRV Collective, possibly My Commerce soon, and then any little gigs that we can get from an NGO, a foundation, a corporation, or anybody that needs media services, or somebody needs to create a branded content pipeline. We can create a branded content whole marketing pipeline for them if they want that. Everybody needs that. They need continuous marketing for their brand. So we can do that for every brand. And we particularly like to support like these smaller, so we can get like small budgets, like 2,000 a month flows, like 5,000 a month flows per customer to handle production services, marketing services. And then we just stack those accounts. So, and then our agency has several accounts with a projected budget, not a maybe budget, but a projected contract budget into the future, so we can plan ahead and plan our growth strategies. We need accounts. We can't just like be getting like one-off projects. For bread and butter, if it's $1,000 to $10,000, we can do things if it takes a little bit of time.
Yeah. I mean, and that's, I think you are speaking to, to the long-term plan. And all these, right, and all these leads that everybody is coming up, like I've got my leads, you've got your leads, I mean, right, that's, we keep tracking these until they come to fruition. And right, and I mean, maybe this is just for me, maybe I don't need to keep saying it, but like I need to also, work on, my own, like I need to make sure that something is coming in, right, in the next 60 days. And I don't want to like count, right? I don't want to make you responsible for that, Basil, right? So I've got to, I've got to go and take, I've hopefully get, and get some one-off gigs or whatnot, and
but if
because
Kim,
right, we have a plan. It's going to take a
studio
little
has
time.
budget and is paying holistic systems to help to support you finally for some of that service. If there's money going to the marketing circle to help support some of that, just that momentum shift can start. So we need to move forward with the expectation that there's going to be money come like June 1st, that's in a week and a half. And that like what we do over the next 4 weeks will sort of like start to blossom a little bit, with the Better World stuff. And then we're going to be like selling sponsorships for Green Planet, Blue Planet, Native Chalk Talk, Restorathon, all of these things. 25% cut for every single sale for like, you know, even if we're just selling for 500, 250 a podcast for like brand placement, you know, for PSAs, like that adds up, you know. So we have outlets to like drive our sales, you know, just off the gross without even having to do any production. And then we have our production services, and then we have our marketing services. But we just need to drive those accounts through the agency. So when you're going to get accounts, you should be driving them through the agency, even, you know, like, but you know, ideally we're just kind of like, we have like one sort of like account handling like entity structure that's like, you know, maintaining that. And then we have the people assigned for those customers or those accounts, you know, whether it's Kim or Zoe or you or whoever is handling those specific people. But then we're growing the aggregate value, the aggregate economy of this ecosystem we're developing. D Studio is designed to just drive revenue into the ecosystem. Holistic Systems is to like take care of all the people, you know, take care of the customers and the people. You know, D Studio is just a service entity within that, like cell. So if you imagine like, you know, Holistic Systems as a cell, D Studio is like kind of like a mitochondria or something. It's like an energy driver. It's converting like the fuel sources into energy and like product and like pushing the cell.
Yeah. I mean, it's a beautiful plan. It's
Did he just?
okay. He's like, and that's it. And mic drop. Mic drop. Thanks, Crispus. Thanks for hanging with us here. Mic drop. Did you let me see. Did you check out Zoe? Oh, yeah, I think you did, right? Or I don't know.
Yeah, I did.
Sorry to turn to mush.
Yeah, everyone seems to be gone, but Crispus.
Okay. So Crispus, thanks for thank you for you know, hanging around. So I guess really like the question I think, Crispus, is you know, because you do have, you know, there's like various, you know, sort of roles and skill sets that you have. And what we're talking about here is like how can we start to operationalize, you know, those, meaning like start working together on specific projects, you know. And so right, and with the idea that like, you know, that we can, you know, how can we start working together on different projects that each of us is, you know, is able to do within the resources that we have. So, you know, so here we're talking about, you know, hi Basil. Here we're talking about the, you know, like the better worlds and working on, you know, having this meeting. So, right, it starts with social, but I guess that's really just the open question that I have is, okay, we, you know, like where could you be involved? And also, you know, like where do you need to make fiat money now? Where, you know, can you just like be putting in investment hours? Yeah, and then what would your role, like, you know, like what would your role be depending on, you know, the project?
Yeah, thanks a lot for the question. So I'll start by saying, like every day, like I join in, it's always a learning curve, and I would like to start by thanking Basil and John for their really amazing insights. They are quite knowledgeable and they are really willing to share the information, and also they got quite a lot of leads, and you see that they are really interested in what they're doing, and it really gives me a very good picture that I'm in the right place with the right people who are really motivated. So to come to that, I would like to be involved in a way that my specialty is the skills, right? I would like to be selling all the time and marketing everything. And I see the opportunities are quite extensive based on what I'm doing right now as an individual and the different stakeholders that I'm involved in. And with the different knowledge that Basil has been sharing, I see there's a lot of opportunities that can be involved. I can be involved in with holistic systems too. So there are examples like lots of examples like we could be wanting to be involved in carbon marketing, that is something that is really possible right here, because I've been involved in a lot of eco-restoration projects. So this is something that we can, it will be just a continuity and to show the people that at the end of the day, we can still make some money from protecting the environment rather than damaging it. And also looking at the youth, how can we motivate these youth still through these eco-restoration projects? Like there's some small project that we have kicked off, like supporting youths with training activities of beekeeping and things like that. So we would want to involve that. We see how we can market the products that we are getting from here, these organic products, how holistic system can connect with these different stakeholders and these different markets who are interested in such kind of products. And there's also this whole idea of creating like community villages where this healing can take place. We have so many people here, so many stakeholders here who are interested, and they have a lot of, there's an opportunity that we can interest them in by showing them these opportunities of collaborating, creating these would be community villages and things like that. So there's a lot of opportunities, but what specifically I would want to do is get involved in these opportunities through marketing them and selling them. All the opportunities that we can identify and the different opportunities that I can identify on the ground here, and also being like the liaison or like the contact down here, or like a representative for the system. And the network is really extensive rather than being a small collection of folks who are in the same area, having a different diversity from different backgrounds, and also sharing my experience would be very great here and towards the different things that we have already been doing. And there's a lot of things that I would want to do individually, but at the moment, I would want not to be hasty on saying that I want fiat currency. It's just like demanding something that you don't know, you don't even know what's on the plate yet, and you can't be demanding anything. So I would want to contribute something before I take something. That is my kind of policy. I think I've shared this before. And when it comes to growing the whole DAO system, I would want to have some sort of course, you need some small fiat to survive here and there. But if there is an opportunity whereby there is some small fiat to come through, but I would want to be most invested in the DAO. I hope I've touched all the areas that you asked.
Yeah. Thank you. That's great. You said there was a particular, I just didn't catch it. You said there was a particular kind of marketing that you said. You were talking, you said, yeah, you wanted to be, you want to be selling all the time and managing that. And then you mentioned a particular kind of marketing. Do you remember what that was? Something that's okay. If not, what's that?
Carbon marketing, like carbon credits.
Oh yeah, carbon market. Thank you.
Carbon marketing. Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Thank you. I just didn't catch that, and I wanted to make sure I've got everything you were saying. I'm taking notes. Yeah, I don't even know exactly how that works. Yeah, beautiful.
Well, we have, just so you know, Crispus, in our entire MRV client base, several of the organizations, Blender Climate, the Thor Hadar Climate Park, and Nori, the Nori token carbon market, and then Toucan. So we've been working with all of them, and they're like part of our like kind of inner producer core too. So and then there's people in Kenya and stuff that we're working with as well. So yeah, anyway, like to be able to get value back to the farmers through behavior change is critical. So that's part of what we're doing, but that takes longer. And like getting like sales for like production services, creative services, organizational support services, that's much faster than like agriculture, which is, slow. But yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah. All right. So, with all that, it sounds like, number one is like talk, you have certain connections and, leads in your communities that might be interested in joining in some sort of way. That, and that sounds like number one. And then number two, okay, it's like, right, sales and marketing, how can you, help, in holistic systems and join, the team in that way. And maybe it's something where we start to, because we're talking a lot about like, in like marketing here, and digital marketing, and you're talking about sales, that's a little bit different. So maybe, it's something where we start to put together like a sales program. And, and how, and right, how do we do that? How do we work on sales? What are the objectives and goals? And so that might be something.
Sure.
I'm gonna hop, you guys. Have a great night. Good to
All
see
right,
you.
thank you. Have a great night, Zoe. I think I'll see you later at the
Yeah.
ISC meeting.
Oh shit, yeah, that's today. Oh damn. Okay.
Yeah. I
Okay,
know.
go, go,
You can
go.
skip it.
No, I got to. It's
I
gonna be
know.
good. Okay, see you.
Thanks,
All
Zoe.
right, bye. Thanks, Zoe.
Bye,
Thanks for hanging around
guys.
so
Thanks
long.
for everything.
Yeah, okay. So what sounds like a good Crispus, what sounds like a good actionable next step, like for us? Did you want to attend like do you want to attend that better? I mean, I know Zoe sent you an email. Do you want to attend that Better Worlds, that marketing circle meeting, and then we can see if something develops there?
Yeah, sure. I know something will go there. Like there's always something that if you stir the pot or if you put fire under the pot, there's always something that's going to boil. So definitely, I believe something so will happen. Being open-minded is always the way I like to go. And I think talking about in terms of sales, the next actionable plan would be probably think of a sales strategy before you even think of creating the team itself, and see, and actually also trying to have a rough view of the different catalogs of the would-be services or products that you're trying to be engaged in, and then develop a good strategy for it. And then from that strategy, maybe you can develop the core team that will be running the team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. That
would be the easier way to go, like making it short term. But if we decide to like create the team first so that the team can develop everything from scratch, I think that would take a long time.
Yeah. I mean, right now,
but to create something
right now, essentially, I'm the team, at least for holistic systems. Yeah. So just develop I think that's a great. Yeah. I mean, that makes perfect sense. Yeah. Develop the strategy. Right, and a sales team strategy rather than just, I mean, I have my strategy. So okay.
I would say, Rob, so we're going to get the circle together for like focusing on our marketing product that can like to their production, some of our other products, right, that we can then sell. But then the sales team,
I can't hear you. You're breaking up, or I can't. Wait, is that me?
No, I couldn't also literally hearing. Like,
okay.
Never mind. My phone is bad. Never mind.
There you go. We can hear you now.
You can hear me now?
Oh yeah, we can hear you now.
Oh, okay. I was just saying that let's get Rob, just start to kind of get our department circles kind of in just a soft flow so that we can look at like what we've got, and then we can start to, there's only 52 weeks a year, and we have to accomplish things so that we can survive year after year after year after year. So we are now in the middle of the year, And what we do now in June, July, August is going to set us up for September through the winter. And we need to make sure that we get all of that flow coming so that we don't have to worry about where the money's coming from by the time we get to September. Right?
Yeah, right. I mean, that's yeah. I mean, I think that's what we've been, doing in a sense, is developing all of that as we go along, right? I mean, I guess I'm like, sound like a broken record or something, but for me, it's like it's like setting ourselves up for those next months, and also figuring out how to just get enough to keep going for the next 2 months or 3 months. But I don't need to beat a dead horse there.
Yeah, we'll I think it's time. You've been holding like the entire enterprise by your, in your head, and just like I was for a while with D Studio, and then now it's like we have people, and we just have to kind of spread out a little bit and like build that sort of structure up, that soft, self-organizing, circle-based structure. It'll work. Yeah.
I believe in it. It'll work. All right. Well, I mean, my checkout is thank you, Basil, and thank you, Crispus, for staying, for hanging in there. We're coming up on the 3rd hour. Thank you, Kimberly's Otter Pilot, for staying with us so long and your patience. Yeah, I appreciate it, y'all, and sounds like we got a plan, and we're gonna make a set a meeting and really start operationalizing. But in this, like, I guess that's my checkout. Feels like we're operationalizing in a here and now doable way. And that's big.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Oh. All right. So take care, y'all, and thanks. Everybody. And